who lived and died and was in the plan of liberating us when he transcended and joined the ancestors here in London in 1940. I couldn't begin without celebrating and pour libation for the spirit and the energy of the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Let's give our brother. And never is there a storm or a tornado or a hurricane that I don't look for that brother in the whirlwind. His voice, his everything he did. And I am from New York, born and raised in New York. And Brother Enoch and I have been talking, and I thank my brother so much for his tenacity, for his struggle, and for all that he did. Because it took a lot to get me here, and I know that on his part. He may not talk about it, but I know it took a lot. He then reaching out to Ancient Future and to Muata Books also extended this piece, and they joined in helping me get here. And so I really appreciate your inviting me here. Wherever Africans are, Africa is. And wherever Africa is, I am home. Make me no difference where I am. And that is what the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey was teaching us. Africa for Africans at home and abroad. And it's something that as we go into this 21st century and we experience these events, we look at our children, it's important that we begin to understand that many are called, but few are chosen. And I have never looked for large numbers of our people, because some of our people, wherever I go, I can tell by their face that they're asleep. They don't mean anybody any harm. They have, just by matter of degree, been impacted by this maafa, this Kiswahili word that means terroristic disaster. Dr. Wade Nobles, a psychiatrist from San Francisco, says that African people are the recipients of shattered consciousnesses and fractured souls. And what we're doing here in these activities is we're coming back together again. And it's so interesting that we would do it in the reflection of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, because this is what he was talking about. He was talking about us coming together in whatever pace, by matter, whatever degree, we open up our consciousness and begin to look at our history and our culture and understand that we are a great people. And the more I learn how much I have more to learn. People say when we do presentations and they talk to me about what I present, and they say, I'm learning. And I tell them, brother, sister, I'm learning too. The books that I read today are opening up my third eye. My chakras are constantly in energetic motion because of what I feel as an African person. And I'm getting to understand this more and more as I move through this process. So I am honored and I'm privileged to be here with you. Because for me to be able to share this information, I'm growing too. Every day I grow. It's not about, and so when we start to talk, ask questions and get into this dialogue, it's not about me talking to you, it's about us growing together. And so I'm hoping that you take this presentation as a growth process, so that when you leave this place today, that it's not just about you heard a lecture. If you walk out of here and can do something with what you've learned, I've been successful. But if this just becomes a bunch of information that you now are recording, I have failed. The Moors taught us that if you can't use what you learned, you wasted your time attempting to learn it. You should be able to use what you learned. Leave here as a different person than who walked in. To understand who the Dogon were, and to understand who the Kemites were. It's important that you understand Africa, as Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop teaches us, that there is a cultural unity in Africa. When our world was shattered, Dr. Van Sertima talks about this when he talks about what happened when the European came to Africa. He shattered Africa and he sent it to all different parts of the planet. Of course now, we had already been to all those parts of the planet already, but we went differently. We went differently. We didn't go the way we went when we were, as your brother Robin Walker talks. When he talks about when we were in charge, when black men and women ruled the world. We went as servants to others, not realizing that they were using us all the while. So when we study the ancients, when we study what our ancestors have taught us, when we study the Dogon, when we study the Kemites, what we're actually doing is we are studying Voodoo. We are studying Candomblé of Brazil. We are studying Santeria, Puerto Rico, República Dominicana, Cuba. We're studying the African American Baptist Church. Because I try to tell brothers and sisters in the Baptist Church, you talk about Santeria, but what you're doing is the same thing that they're doing. It's the same thing. It is the Orisha. It is the nature. It is the understanding of a great creator, of bringing all of this information together to make this happen for our people. This legacy is very real for us, and it's living in us. Everything that has ever happened and everything that will ever happen is in the mind of a fetus when it's conceived. And all that happens in this human experience is that we just evolve and become conscious. It's as if we turn out all the lights. We can see nothing in the room. And all of a sudden, you find the light switch, you turn the light switch on, you see tables, you see beads, you see necklace, you see pictures, you see chairs, you see human beings, you see tables. Did all those things appear in the room when you turned that light on? No, they were always there. Your light just wasn't on. Well, that's the collective experience of the world, of the cosmic reality. We have collected in our minds all the information. All you have to do is turn on your light and see what's in your mind. Nobody's going to teach you anything. Whatever I say today, you already knew. The best I can do is assist you in knowing you already knew it. But I am not going to tell you anything you did not walk in this room knowing already. And this is the way the collective life experience is. The way in which education is put upon not just African people, but all people. Its purpose is to control and to contain in a box. And if you ever step out that box, you will then see a world that is outside the box. The decisions you make will be made not only from what you see in the box, but what you know exists outside the box. If that ever happens, you once again will rule the world. So the educational system is going to try to keep you in this box. And whenever your ancestors start to talk to you, whenever they start to warn you, whenever they start to bring you up, they're going to tell you, you crazy. Because you're listening to your ancestors. But I have to be honest with you. Having studied their history, if I were them, I would do it too. My mama always taught me, always walk in the shoes of your enemy. Because if you can understand why he or she does what he or she does, then you can understand what you must do. But as long as you're coming at somebody from you to them, you'll never understand how they're coming at you. So the decisions you make are going to be wrong. These are the kinds of things that we have to start to begin to think about as we are encountering our daily lives here in London, in Amsterdam, in New York, Bronx, New York, Gary, Indiana. Wherever we are, we have to understand this about ourselves. And we have to get to our children. I've spent 32 years with our children. Aren't they beautiful? Yeah, I'm talking about the ones with the hat on sideways. And the pants falling off their butt. And the shoelace untied. And the one like this. That look like Osiris to me, doesn't it? They don't realize that this is Osiris. And they don't understand because we don't know that's Osiris. Asar. Asaru. We don't know it, so we can't tell them. Yo, you know who you are? You're the king of the earth and the heavens, and you're the judge. That's who you are, young brother, as you stand there like this.